7 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're live. Welcome and good evening to the Village of Webster Board meeting, April 22nd, 2021. And I think we'd like to begin with the pledge. So if you would all please stand. And Jerry, would you lead us, please?
She will. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And seated. Good evening, and we will begin with a open comment portion, public comment. So if anybody would like to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name and what you would like to discuss.
Hello, Peter Elder, 59 Dunning Avenue. I have a really quick comment tonight. I was wondering if I could ask you sort of a question, see if there's a possibility of something. I know this is the last minute of this, but I was kindly given the budget by the treasurer, and 2021 has a kind of a special significance because it's the 20th year of 9/11, and this village has always taken a proactive stance on 9/11. I mean, we're one of the very few villages that actually continue doing the ceremony. And I remember, well, Jake, what was that, 10 years ago, when we bought a special plaque and even placed it in the Memorial Park there. And one of the things I love about Veterans Memorial Park is it grows. It's kind of a living park because you might go down there 2 years later and there's something new. And something happens down there all the time. And what a great thing that is, because someone coming back to it might see something different. So I noticed it in the budget. There was nothing budgeted for the 9/11 ceremony this year. And I know there's a contingency part of the budget, so I wouldn't ask you to alter the bottom line of the budget, but would it be possible either to, one, think about the contingency line as having a small portion of it that can be made to fund a plaque or something special for the ceremony, or two, transfer money from contingency, a small amount, to the 9/11 line so that there is something to fund the ceremony. So, and you may have already thought about this, and I may just be treading over ground you've already talked about, but I wanted to at least bring it to your attention tonight for you to digest a little bit and think about. And thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's I don't care what Heather says about it, Pete. I think it is a good idea.
I agree.
I agree, Peter.
Completely.
Yeah, I see that in the general expenditures that under celebrations contractual, there was nothing, and under 9/11 ceremony, there was nothing. Though there is for the other things that are going on in the village. So I think, Peter, that's very important, and that will be changed, and we'll amend that. Fill that in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the board this evening? If not, then I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting, and we will move to our regular scheduled agenda. First of all, we have an approval, a resolution to approve the 21-22 fee schedule. Had an opportunity to help to look things over in terms of the fee schedule. There are a number of changes. I would like to, however, on the third page, I would like to note that under septage dumping fee, that has been crossed off, as well as recreational vehicles, and I don't know if that's an item that can be established later on should a decision be made to continue with our own sewer. We would continue at that point to set up a building where septic can be taken. So I don't know if we can establish, continue to keep that there just as reference, or whether it can be put on again later. I think it's easier to leave it than it is to take it off and then put it back on. So I would note that.
I see Don doing a shoulder shrug.
You can certainly add it later, and maybe after you decide how much it's going to cost for the septic facility and everything else, maybe the rate that you used to charge isn't enough to cover it. It's on, but I figured Jake's going to talk more than me, so I aimed it towards him.
Jake, talk
Be
more.
highly unlikely.
I mean, that's fine. If it's easy to put back on.
Yeah, it's
then
like
you
any,
just
like
say-
I don't
any fee,
think-
you could just, you
Yeah.
can edit it by, just by resolution,
Yep.
anytime
Not a
during the
problem.
year. So,
That was my concern, whether it was
Because-
easier to leave it on or whether you could
Yeah.
put it back on easily.
no, just like if you decide to change a fee mid-year, you can do that too by resolution.
Yeah.
So not to mess Heather up, you know, and we already deleted it, so.
It makes sense.
Makes it, yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Then I would ask for a motion to approve the fee schedule for 21-22.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, we have a motion to approve the 2021 Webster payroll chart. And you have that in front of you. If there are any questions, if there are no questions, I'd ask for,
I do have some questions.
yeah.
Not questions per se, but I thought at one point we discussed attaching, and I guess we can change it at some other time. Attaching salary increases based on reviews and objectives and things like that. So I know you can put in this amount now, but we should be also reviewing.
We did do that.
So I haven't seen any documents as of yet.
They will be done by June when these go into effect.
I'm sorry, please say that again.
The reviews will be done by the time the increases go into effect. You have them in your,
Just not a good practice to remind. All right.
Although some of the increases are contractual,
Yep.
you know, and
And some are not.
so the contractual ones you're kind of stuck with.
Agreed.
Good review on that, because it's
Yes.
just these are basically just the 3%, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not that there's an issue.
But that was a good question.
oh boy.
And director, $198 increase.
The what? The
Band
input?
director.
I assume that's 3%?
The, Harvey, yeah, Harvey Cohen sent me a band budget request, and they had, you know, their total request was less than last year's, and they split it up differently, so I just put it in the way they asked us to. And that included a little raise for the band director.
It was ultimately a decrease, yes.
It was ultimately a decrease, you said,
Yes.
overall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I.
the band budget for this year overall is smaller than last year.
They indicate anything, I know it may be early, anything regarding playing their Thursday night concerts?
Not to be,
Just one.
They were definitely, reached out to us recently, and I talked to Don, and they wanted to go back to practicing, so they're kind of figuring out what they can do right now. So they're trying to do that.
Then if there's no other comments or questions, then I'll ask for a motion to, or a resolution to approve payroll check.
And I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Alito? Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, we have a notification of 2021-22 tentative budget modifications. There are a couple here in the general fund from line AA 1010-100 and line AA 1210-100. The legislative trustee personnel and executive mayor personnel, a decrease of $843, which would move to a contingency fund of AA 1990-400, and modifications to the tentative sewer budget, and that again would be GG 1010-100, legislative trustees from 63, decrease of $63, GG 1210-100, executive mayor personnel, decrease of 30, to GG 1990-400, contingency of $93. This would be in accordance with the budget, which was holding at the mayors and the legislative trustees at the current level.
Maybe a suggestion, move the $843 to the 9/11 instead of contingency.
You're on a roll.
That's good, very good.
I don't know how much was previously budgeted, but you got $843.
I mean, it's where it's gonna come out of anyway, so we could, I suppose, do that.
Sure.
Well, I think it's a nice gesture.
Oh, yeah,
Instead the trustees and the mayor are taking any increase and giving it to a 911 ceremony, you know?
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
I like it.
We're gonna throw your salary in there,
All right.
Big plaque.
So we would then have modifications of decreasing in both the general and sewer,
Yeah.
and the total, which would have been moved to contingency of $936, we could move to the line, where is that? AA 75-51-400, which is the 9/11 memorial ceremony.
Well, the $93 you probably can't, because that's in a separate fund.
Right.
Yeah.
That's in the sewer fund,
That's
so
sewer.
that's why I suggested just doing the 843.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
That's good.
Motion to approve that notification. All right, very good. $843 then going into that particular line for 9/11 Memorial Ceremony. Next, we have a resolution to adopt the modified 2021-22 tentative budget for the general and sewer funds. We had a presentation last meeting, and we had no extensive comment regarding it. I don't believe any significant changes except the 9/11 that I see here. Our budget total expenditures total $2,876,780. And looks like general revenues total the same, $2,876,780. With our sewer budget of $1,237,000 $1,045, and expenditures and revenue being the same. So,
Nice job.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
and if there are no other comments other than thank you for the job well done, I'll ask for a motion to approve and to adopt the modified budget for 2021-22.
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
make that motion.
Second.
Trustee Lancy? Trustee Lauer?
I thought I was first.
You did at the same time. Trustee Polito?
Mr. Rogers.
Mayor Byron?
Aye.
Motion passes.
She's my neighbor.
Carl, I brought you candy today, but I forgot to put it over there.
I saw brownies out.
We're brownies.
All right, next we have a resolution to approve the minutes from the April 8th meeting. We had a chance to look those over and remember the meeting, and if there are no questions or additions or deletions that you would like to entertain, then I would ask for a motion for approval of the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Polito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Mayor Byron?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next, we have a resolution to approve the claims and warrants. I don't know if you had an opportunity to look them over
Yeah.
and have any questions.
Yeah, I had one on the industrial appraisals. Where were those properties? Property appraisals?
Are there property appraisals that was that Brandon Murphy and Associates? Right, that's the Sandbar Wells.
Oh, it is a sandbar,
No.
okay.
Nope.
No.
Oh, it's
No.
industrial appraisal?
That's the, every year they estimate the value of our buildings and all for our
Oh.
insurance.
Oh, that's
So,
what it.
yeah, that was just the annual for that, and I will throw out there, they recommend an in-person assessment every 5 to 7 years, and for us, it's been 9 years. So I just yesterday received a proposal for them to come and do that, so I'll be sharing that with Heather and with you guys pretty soon.
Great, thank you.
I do have a question, Jake, whether you can answer this. This is probably from sewer. And that is the purchase for $10,754 of the, must be a zero-turn mower.
Yes.
I looked that up. Can you talk more to that issue?
Yeah, it was replacing the last mower we bought down there was 2011 or 2012. So that's one going to auction that was declared surplus at the last meeting. So this is a replacement mower for that one.
I noticed it was kind of in the intermediate range of some of those. I don't understand why they need to run from 16,000 down to 5,000, but 16,000 for a lawnmower seems like a lot.
Not just.
Yeah.
Carl, you could get one and refurbish it.
Yeah, very over.
Bring me the old one.
Well, actually, the old one, I remember when I first started here, when we replaced that one in 2012, I think we bought the last one for, it was $7,500. I think when we sold it at auction, it was 5 or 6 years old at the time we sold it at auction for $6,700. So it essentially cost us $100 a year at that time to have a lawnmower. So we certainly get a good deal on it on state bid. Then we use them, we take care of them, maintain them, and then when they go to auction, especially in the spring auction, they're very popular, and they seem to get a pretty good buck, so.
Yeah.
You know, it's lucky to keep them rotated that way.
They don't,
Yeah,
they have good value, you just.
Yes,
yeah, especially we have like 600 or 800 hours on them.
Yeah.
So-
but these guys really take care of our equipment, so, I mean, that's the bigger thing.
Do we use that anywhere other than down at the sewer plant?
No, we've got another one up here that we do all the parks very often when we're mowing one, you know, depending on the year, something, you know, we're mowing one, we need to mow everything in a couple day window before it rains again. So the one that we have up here, we mow up here with the parks and things like that with it. And then the one down at the sewer plant just stays at the sewer plant. Because it, you know, it's a 4-acre, probably a couple acres of grass down there, at least, so it's a good amount of grass.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, then I would ask for a motion to approve the claims and warrants.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
Ah,
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, next we have a resolution to approve one lot within the New Brand development as an out-of-district sewer user. I believe that, Jake, you can address this issue.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, north on 250, just north of the village line. In fact, the subdivision borders the village, two of the property lines border the village. So when I say just across the line, it's just across. But you'll know where the tree with the clock on it is. Just before that, you'll see a sign for New Grand Road. It's a private drive back there. And this is north of that road. There's a parcel that they're going to subdivide into 2 lots. Only one of them is going to be developed right now. And then they've made arrangements with their neighbors to the north to, I'm going to do this so I can hear, the neighbors to the north to get an easement to get out to where our main is on 250 there where it heads north. We certainly have capacity. We average about 1.3, 1.4 million gallons a day, so unless they have a real digestive issue, we should be able to handle, you know, with a 2.5 million gallon day plant, so we can take it. So, should be good.
Any other questions? Not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the development as an, with lot number 1 within the development as an out-of-district user, sewer user.
I'll second.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Lauer?
aye.
Mayor Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'll send a letter, let them know. They're going to town planning and zoning, I figure we might as well make sure, makes more sense to make sure we have approval here first before they go through that process, so I'll certainly let them know.
Don, do you have anything for us this evening?
No, I do not.
And we'll move to, I think first we'll move to Aaron. Aaron Thompson, welcome.
Thank you.
Your first meeting here with the board, and in your official capacity, code enforcement, and your first presentation to the board.
I appreciate that. Basically, we're just trying to play catch up on some of the open permits. There's quite a few of them, as well as maintain all the new ones coming in and complaints and whatnot. And we've got the new development that is going up on the state road there and 250. A lot going on with that. And we just gave approval for them to start clearing, so more work's going to be coming with that as well. So that's about it.
Were you somewhat caught up with all of the things that were, Jake had a lot of work to do in the interim between your predecessor and yourself taking over, but you guys really caught up?
We still have quite a bit of catch-up to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's several permits from previous years that are not closed out for probably 2 years back.
Yeah.
Christian?
Got our hands full.
Okay, well, and Jake, we'll move on to you. DPW report, sewer.
I've circulated around just this afternoon and just nothing to vote on today certainly, but the board would look or review there's two agreements, or there's an agreement and temporary easement for the Sandberg Well decommissioning project. If you could take a look at those and let me know your thoughts and with a positive review of them by the board, then we can send them to I would like to forward them to the property owner down there that we're going to be requesting the easement from. And they deal with the disposition of the property. Those are the ones we just had appraised and that temporary easement. So let me know on those if you can. I just was notified, I think it was last year, Verizon Wireless had reached out to us regarding the parcel on State Road. Where the old water tank there in our parcel. Then they put it on the back burner, and the gentleman just left me a message the other day, he'd like to put it back on the front burner. So we're going to take that back on the front burner and see what we can do with that. It's going to take some coordination with the water authority on that. So, we're going to have that. Last year, the board, I think it was a board motion and approval, and maybe it worked out great, but the Webster Library used our band shell over on Phillips Road for
Yes.
some of the programs, the kids' programs and stuff. We lent them some sound equipment and stuff. This year they got their own sound equipment. Sounds like they're going to be doing that again. They've sent a request for several dates. And I don't know if it's something someone else is using in another group. We had them sign an agreement saying they would do the social distancing and maintain, they'd be responsible for all that and making sure. So, and I did notice beyond the kids program, I think, and I don't know if it was right, I just thought of it as I was here, there was one in there for yoga, which I don't know if that's kids yoga or if it's an adult class or something.
It's another venture with the library. They're going to do some social distance yoga over there as well, in addition to the read alouds and stuff.
So with that, that's a little different. I heard already thinking about yoga, so maybe we ought to make sure with them that we do get insurance certificates with us being named, additionally insured and things. I mean, last year with the kids program, I think it's pretty benign and wasn't much stuff, but maybe we ought to reach out to them and then make sure that we're getting those. Probably, board approval, because I could see someone coming back after if anything happened. Was that ever approved for them to be there? And since we did it last year, maybe we should look at doing it again, just to make sure that we're, it worked out great. They were wonderful to work with. They were very, very appreciative. They had a lot of kids out there, especially in the tough year that it was last year with having to be social distanced and not being able to do their programs and their normal outreach stuff. So I think it's a wonderful thing that they're doing. It's great seeing it used, getting people out there. But I don't know if it's something if the board can, authorize the band to use, or excuse me, the library to use the band shell for some of their scheduled events or what Don thinks about it, I guess.
Don, what do you think?
Well,
As insurance.
Well, I'm sure they're covered under the town's insurance, right? And I don't know if they have a separate policy or if it's part of the town's general liability policy, but, I don't know. They're covered by the, I'm sure that they have insurance. Whether you want a specific certificate of insurance, okay, I guess you can ask for that, but I don't know, it's the town.
I apologize. I already told them yes, as long as they were going by social distancing and everything. I mean, it's town. It's library.
Yeah, no, I already talked about it. Cool, too.
Sorry.
I was just thinking because last year we did the same, we requested the approval from the board, and it's just probably not a terrible idea to do it. I don't know if that expired, if it was saying they could do it last year, does it make sense just to do it again?
I was referring specifically to the yoga part, so,
No.
yeah.
Well,
I think we still need to have something, especially if it's beyond what it was last year, if they're adding the yoga part.
And it sounded like it was just a one-time thing, but I can look into it and get back to you.
One time.
That's what it sounded like to me, but I can look into it.
Usually it would seem to me that it would be ongoing, maybe once a week or whatever, but.
That's what your class is, right? Your class is once a week.
Well, the one that was in here was once a week.
He's saying your
The late
yoga
one.
class.
That's a little different.
I would do yoga just once.
Maybe everybody will be sore.
Jake, it's over.
Like I ate a salad once, I saw no results.
So maybe we just,
Never again.
maybe we just need a little more information from that. But if Don's saying it's coming through the town, I don't know if we have to do anything different with insurance.
And I apologize, I think we told them it was okay, so I didn't ask for a resolution or approval. I apologize. But for this year, I assumed.
Do you need us up here or you just want
No, I just want to make sure that we are covered in it, you know.
Appreciate it.
No, I was just thinking of that when I was thinking about the library again, so I said, well, let me just see if we need to, just kind of a formality to say, yeah, it's fine, because it worked out so good.
do we think that we should be, is that something we should
Well,
make a
look,
motion for?
I'm sure the town has insurance that covers activities put on by the library. You know, do you have them, do they sign any kind of document for use of the facility? Doesn't that have some kind of an indemnification clause in it for, you know, in case they're negligent, they're responsible, so?
Yeah, you added it for us a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would suffice.
It's sort of like having an intermunicipal agreement with the town for use of the facility, you know? With the highway departments and public works here, I'm sure you don't ask for a certificate of insurance every time you use a piece of equipment for the town or vice versa. So I don't know why you'd want to ask for a certificate of insurance for the library.
No, because they're doing yoga, that sounds painful.
Well,
That's
Your experience.
It's not a big deal,
Honestly,
I brought up
Yeah.
just getting the approval for the library to use it again, because we did last year. I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily know that we needed to last year, but since we did, I said, hey, maybe we ought to do it again, and then I remembered, because I had this jotted down, that, oh, they're gonna do yoga things too, so.
Sorry, Charlie.
And I just saw that on the calendars, so I think
Yeah.
it's great that the things get used, that's why we have the parks.
So shouldn't you just put that in the agreement in front of us to look at and just, maybe just vote on that?
It's just a standard form, kind of. so
But
many
it should
rows.
say it starts on this date and this date, so there's no, we're using it after this date, have everything in it, and then we approve that and we'll go.
You want me to email it to you?
Sure.
Can we do it next time? Is that okay?
Or we can respond by email if you want, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, we could respond by email, why not? Just send it to us.
Next time.
okay.
Yeah, good.
I will send
Okay.
you all the dates. I mean, I probably could email it right now, and just didn't have to find it.
Well,
And then obviously Don should make sure he's putting it in, now we move on.
yeah.
No problem.
Perfect.
well, like you said, it's probably the same thing I've looked at before.
Yeah, the agreement, but I
Yeah.
thought you meant you wanted the dates and everything, and just,
Well, I think in an agreement, you shouldn't just say, hey, they can use the pavilion and they're still using it in October. I think we should have on start.
Right.
absolutely. No, they provide us the dates, we put it on the calendar, make sure they're okay, and then we get back to them on it.
So didn't they have mornings and afternoons, or mornings and evenings or something? I thought that they had two different times.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends on the day, sometimes it was afternoon, but I don't remember, I apologize.
Good enough.
Yeah, it looks like Tuesdays, 1 to 3:30,
Thank you.
and then Thursdays, 8 AM to 10 AM. Yeah, basically those times. And they've got it through, from starting in May, May 8th is the first one, so I don't know if that's before the next meeting. That's all the way through the end of August at least. And I think
Okay.
last year, I remember doing some Halloween stuff even, so they were into October when they did it.
And they did ask us when they wanted additional dates.
Yeah.
We also coordinated with the band as well, so that there wasn't going to be any overlap. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
send it.
Yeah, we'll do.
But I don't think, I think the clerk probably has the inherent authority to allow the use of the facility. It doesn't necessarily have to come before the board, you know.
Don's Team Heather today, I like it.
I'm gonna write that one down.
Well, especially because she's already told them, that they could do it, so what are you gonna do, now say no?
But that was my initial question, if
Yeah.
that's not a board approval.
I don't think it's necessarily needs board approval. If something
You're
new
she's
was
gonna be
coming
making all
in,
sorts of
like
things.
totally new, and Heather had some concerns, real concerns, I'm sure she'd bring it to the board, beforehand.
Just
Make
that
sure-
process.
Make sure you were okay with
This
it.
process prevents,
Yes.
my friend Alice, I'm gonna put her there next, she could be, that's, I think it's a process to
Yeah.
just protect, as Jake
Well,
originally said.
yeah.
It takes the onus off of them and puts it on the board
Exactly.
if something's wrong, in my opinion.
Humble opinion, but I agree.
Well, I doubt she'd be renting out the band shell to some private person, It was the town, so
I'm just saying, Don, I always go with your advice, but I'm just. All right, we beat that one to death, and we still don't have a resolution. So we beat that one to death, and we still don't have a result.
There you go.
We are getting an email.
Yeah, we are.
Jake, was that it?
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be easy, so. I'm good.
Thanks for throwing me in.
I'm just trying to make sure.
Aaron?
If I may, jump back real quick. I did forget to mention, I know I spoke with you about it. We've in the short time I've been here, we've had several issues with change of use right up in the village. I think it'd be a good idea to set up a meeting like I talked with you about with the bid and the chamber to help them explain why it's so important to get those change of use applications and permits in.
Yes.
So, and like I said, we've had quite a few of them in the short time I've been here. And it's very important.
Where they didn't ask for a permit?
Yeah, we've found several new businesses that have
Oh.
just
Yeah.
kind of popped up. I know
Well,
four,
that's that was
four
one
just in the
I asked
last,
about it the
yeah,
last
four
time.
just in the last couple of weeks, so
Yeah.
I think it's important to get that taken care of. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Cobblestone's
Thank you.
open.
Today, man,
Yep, today was today.
ice cream's good, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, the victim check.
Would you like to, Aaron, would you like to meet with the, I'm thinking of the word, person who's in charge this year of the bid, coordinator,
Yeah, sure.
Elena.
Elena, rather than with the whole,
Yeah, because then she could kind of sum it up and bring it back to the group
Yeah.
we can set
for them. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that.
Well, I would announce that public notification, serial bond interest payment for the bond obtained in 2012 will be made in the amount of $4,381.25 on May 14th. There are a couple of things that I would like to bring to the attention of the board. One, we will possibly need either direction or discussion on a number of items. One being the American Rescue Act. I suppose that we'll chat with the treasurer as well in what that can be used for possibly in terms of the amounts of money. Part of it, I believe, half of that will be paid out in 21, and half of that paid out in 22. So it's somewhat significant $300,000 for each year. So we will need to have, I think, a follow-up possible discussion when we know a little bit more about it. But I'm just making you aware of the fact that it's
Yeah, it does indicate what you can spend, right?
Well, not clearly enough that, in my opinion, we shouldn't spend any of it until we're absolutely positive and we have support on that from OSC. The last time I talked with someone at OSC about it, he said their attorneys were all up in a tizzy because it was not sufficiently clear.
Correct, to do know.
It is something to note,
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
and will be coming. Number two, most of you, I think, are aware of the fact that it was passed into law that cannabis is now legal in New York State, and there are probably, it won't be until 22 or 2023 that major direction or decisions will be made on some of the, how it is set up, how it is going to be controlled, etc. But it is important for you to know that a decision needs to be made by the end of the year, December of this year, in terms of whether to allow the sale of cannabis in the village. That's one part of it, and the other part would be the kind of like a smoke shop, or where you can actually go to smoke it, I suppose. So I think that it's somewhat twofold, but one of the things that was concern to the mayors at our last meeting, and there was certainly no consensus on it, was how do you, do we tie into it? There were pros and cons, and if you don't, if you set up a resolution to opt out of the retail sale of it by December 31st, they may go elsewhere, because you can opt back in. But if you don't opt out, you are automatically in as of December 31st. So it's a question of, do you opt out? And then if the village decides, municipality decides to opt back in, it can do so. But you may have lost that opportunity, and they may go elsewhere. So it's a decision and conversation that I think we'll need to have, so I would make that aware of that. It's something that we need to be thinking about. The revenue on that would be up to 3%. If the town were to go into this as well and were to allow a retail in the town, then it would be split, but it would be split not any less than 1 1/2% of the sales tax. So it, and there are certain things that obviously the municipality can set up in terms of the places that it owns, in terms of controlled property. We control sidewalks, they're village property, roadways, parks, playgrounds, etc. So something again to consider in the future. Next item I think that I have is that I would like to thank Megan Haskell, our clerk. This was her last day. In celebration of that, there was a lot of fun and games throughout the day, as well as luncheon for her and for the staff as well. She has given 5+ years to the village, and I would like to say that I have greatly appreciated the work that she has done, and that I think we will definitely, I know we will definitely miss her in the front office. So,
Yes.
Megan, thank you. If you're listening, thank you very much for your work and for your friendship as well.
Good person.
Next item that I'd like to share with you is regarding the RTS. As of May 17th, there will be a reimagining of the RTS system, and in terms of that, there will be new schedules, there will be new and changed routes, on-demand service in terms of designated zones, and I believe that Webster will be one where it will be an on-demand kind of system here. There will be a, and this is going to be on our website tomorrow, but there will be on April 27th a customer information session, and follow-up information is going to be available if you check our website. So tomorrow there will be information regarding finding your schedule, the on-demand zone guide, etc., that you'll need to know for service after May in terms of riding the RTS bus system. So that would be a major change, I think, to Webster. I don't know if it's partly due to the fact that they no longer have the demand for it in terms of Xerox coming all the way out, but it will certainly affect the Webster area. So this will be on our website for you to check out. And again, as I mentioned, at 5:30 to 6:30 on, I think it's April 27th, there will be a webinar which you can tune into and listen to the information that is being provided. Okay.
I was wondering if we'd entertain canceling the May 13th board meeting. As I know, a few of us won't even be here on that day. We were tentatively doing it for Zoom, and right now there's limited to no agenda items. So I just wanted to
Yeah, if nothing comes up, you guys aren't going to be here.
just combine it into the 27th.
Yeah.
Unless there's some need for an emergency meeting, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
I think good.
We could put that.
That work for you? Jake?
Jake?
Wasn't all for it. I'm good.
So then Heather, you'll do the whatever communications necessary.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Take a motion.
If there is anything else anyone like to bring up, Jake?
I just wanted, I do want to thank the guys in the back that we did spring cleanup again last week. And they went around, people that, we did a long, the leaf pickup last year. We got all those done, and the weather cooperated with us. Nothing else did, but the weather did, it seemed like, so able to get a lot of them done. So spring cleanup was a little lighter this year, but we still went through and did that. We're doing brush pickup next week is the first full week of the month. So is it next week? And then the following week, excuse me. Following week is when the brush pickup is. So they went around in pretty short order this year, did the spring cleanup, and it's something that we started just a few years ago. I think this is the third year now, and it's been very popular. People really seem to like it.
Very
Like I said, sometimes the weather cooperates in the fall better, so you don't have as many leaves, and this one was one of those years. But they actually went around with the vacuum and were able to get most of the leaf piles with the street sweeper. Instead of bringing out the big loud vacuum in the box on the truck, we were able to get it with the street sweeper. So.
Did you have to drop any salt?
No,
I was gonna
no,
ask
it's
you
good,
this.
because we had all the salters cleaned out and, de-winterized, I guess, and put away, so we were watching closely. I got up at 3 o'clock the last couple of days looking, praying that I didn't have to call anybody, and we didn't, we got pretty lucky, so, it cooperated just enough.
How did we do this year, Jake, in terms of salt? Did we have a relatively good year, or
Yes.
did we exceed what we had budgeted for, or?
No, we had a good year, as far as, we still have to buy some, we have to buy 70% of our allocation. And then by the end of next week, we have to put in what we need for next year. So we have to buy, but we know that we still have to get, I think it's about 70 ton left on our allocation this year. So we're gonna, and salt never gets cheaper, so we're gonna make sure we fill the bins, we're gonna empty the stone out of the one, fill the bins up, and then we're gonna reduce our next year's request by, by what we already have. But, we always seem to average, in the past, about 300 ton a year. And real terrible years, we've used over 500. And the problem is, we're guaranteed salt up to about 130% or 150. But after you reach 130% of what you request, so real simple, if we requested 100 ton, once we get to 130 ton, we're no longer guaranteed. There's price increases after 110% of whatever it is. After 150, there's no guarantees, but after 130, it's just market rate. I think one year we were close, instead of $48 a ton, it was 84 at the end of the season. We were able to work with some partners and not have to get it. We borrowed some and then returned it the following season, so we didn't have to get $84 a ton. It's almost, double the price almost, so.
But we did well this year.
Yeah.
That's good to stockpile.
Don, do we have to make a motion to cancel the meeting?
Yes. Heather was gonna raise that issue.
She was, I heard it whisper across the room, but
No, I go
I
here.
want to make sure you guys were on the same page.
Tonight
That's
we are.
twice tonight.
3 times, I think.
So you want to ask for a motion, sir?
I will do that. In light of our discussion, I would ask for a motion to approve the cancellation of the village board meeting on May 13th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lauer?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Ippolito? I think I messed that up. Mayor Beck?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Well, if there are no other items on the agenda, no other comments, then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.